Hi again, everyone. Welcome back to the Columbus School of Chinese. My name is Donald Newman, and this is Ask a Chinese Teacher. Today, I'm going to be tackling a particularly difficult issue, that being the difference between the three de. If you've had some Mandarin in the past, you already know what I'm talking about. This is the difference between de, and de. Used in these situations, they are all pronounced the same, but grammatically, they have drastically different functions. So we're going to take a close look at these today. This is something that beginners to advanced learners and even native speakers sometimes use incorrectly. I can open up my WeChat feed right now, and I'm likely to see some native speakers posting things on there, getting at least some of this mixed up, right? So let's take a look firstly at our first de, the possessive de we use with nouns. So first and foremost, right off the bat, with all three of these, there are many uses for all three of these de. I'm going to be talking about the most common uses, or at least the ones you're most likely to come across first as you're studying Mandarin as a non-native speaker. Right? So the number one usage of this de, this first de, is that it connects an adjective to a noun. It connects something that's describing a noun to that noun. So what is this noun like? What color is it? What type is it? These are all things we can connect to a noun, right? These two examples here, we can connect the color red to apple. So now with this de here, 红色的苹果, we now have a red apple. Another example here, we have the adjective for old. We're connecting that to a noun, a book. 旧的书, 旧的书. So you can see how this de connects an adjective to a noun. There is one more usage of this de that I should mention before we move on. That is how it forms a possessive. So if we take a pronoun, for example, this 我 refers to I or me. With this de, that I becomes my or mine. Okay? So 我的苹果, my apple. It doesn't have to be a pronoun though. So let's take another noun. Yesterday, right? 昨天, 昨天. If we add this possessive de on the end here, it's kind of like adding that apostrophe s we have in English. 昨天的天气. Yesterday's weather. All right. So the second usage of de you'll come across here is that it forms a possessive. All right, let's move on to our second de. This de works in a very similar way, except we're not connecting an adjective to a noun. We're not connecting a description to a noun. We're connecting a description to a verb, and therefore that's an adverb. We're connecting how the verb happens with the verb. Common adverbs in English are those words with the ly at the end, right? And we'll see some of those in the examples we'll take a look at. So as I just mentioned, this de connects an adverb to a verb. It connects how the verb happens to the verb. For example, 快快地走, we're connecting this word fast to the verb. So it becomes that quickly, that ly word that's connected to this verb. We're just talking about how this verb is happening. How are we leaving? We're leaving quickly. 快快地走. Example 2 here, very similar. We have this verb 哭, and we're adding a description to it, 大声. So 哭 means cry. How is this crying happening? It is happening loudly. 大声地哭. So this de grammatically here has the grammatical function of connecting this description to this verb. Loudly crying. 大声地哭. Without the de, 大声 just simply means loud. With the de, it means loudly. It's like adding that ly on the end. Alright, so finally we have our third de. This one is the trickiest to get because we really don't have these in English. These are forming what is called a verb complement. The easiest way to think about a verb complement for now, and there are many different types, is that a verb plus the is followed by a description about how that verb is happening, or the potentiality for that verb, or the result of that verb. These are a little bit different compared to what we have in English. We really don't have this in our toolkit in English, but verb complements are very powerful, and once you get a hang of them, they're very useful for communicating all different kinds of ideas in Mandarin. Let's take a couple examples here. So again, this de connects a verb with a verb complement. You'll notice that compared to the other two, this one's different in that the verb comes first, followed by the de, and then the description. So this comes after the verb as opposed to before the verb, which is the one that we just described with the purple coloring, right? This one comes after the verb. That's how you know to use this de. So let's take a look at a couple examples here. 他说的很好. We have the verb 说, to speak. We are talking about how this person speaks. 他说的很好. Example 2, very similar. 我学得很慢. I learn very slowly. So we have the verb 学, to study, to learn, followed by this de, followed by some description about how this verb is happening. Of course, if this has saved you some headache and helped you, I'd love to hear about it. Or if you have further questions, let us know. Please share this with other people who are learning Mandarin, then it might help. And subscribe to the channel. I have a new episode continuing to come out once a week.